Hey you guys, so I just finished a 2-day couples experiential workshop with Terry Real, and it was so insightful. There were 340 some therapists that took the 2-day course, and we got to watch Terry work live in front of us with 5 couples. And so I just want to share with you a few things that I learned. One is that the more traumatized your partner is, the more easy they're going to get triggered, and the more difficult your relationship is going to be. So when people grow up in difficult childhoods where they were abandoned or abused, they have a lot of pain that they bring into their relationship, and the way it can show up is that they get extremely needy or anxious, or they're very sensitive to any kind of abandonment, or they're really super walled off and can't feel anything because they're so protected. And so sometimes people have to do a lot of inner trauma work. However, they also have to learn to be relational. And so the Terry Real's work, Relational Life Therapy, is about being relational. It's not about me, it's about us. And the new book he's coming out with is called Us. It will be out in March 2022. And where do any of us learn to be relational? Did we see our parents being relational? Like, where did we see it? So he teaches people these skills. And so I really love his way of training. And there are 3 courses also for it. RLT 1, 2, and 3. I'm in the 2nd course. And after I finish the 3rd course, then I will start practicing with couples. Anyway, what I want to say, a lot of people think that a perfect relationship means that you never have any disagreements or disharmony. And that is a myth. Relationships, like anything in life, there's a birth, a sustaining, and a death, right? The cycle. And in relationships, you have harmony, disharmony, and repair. Harmony, disharmony, and repair. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. You see this even in the relationship with a mother and her baby. They're close, everything's great, and then baby gets fussy and gets upset or is hungry or something's wrong, and then mother, is like, oh, what do I do, and then she calms him down or she feeds him. That's the repair. So there's this cycle of harmony, disharmony, repair that goes on in all relationships. So what I want to say about that, I think the extent of the disharmony has a lot to do with how well we're able to repair. Because people who are bad at repair, their disharmony can get super, super strong. Where you have couples that are constantly warring and fighting out of their own trauma, their trauma wounds are deep, and they don't know how to repair. Then other couples that are pretty well adjusted emotionally, they don't have a lot of disharmony. But there's some. You occasionally feel triggered or annoyed or abandoned, right? Then how good is your repair? That's the important part in relationship. So what I want to say about repair is when people get triggered, again, according to their trauma, they can go into one of 2 stances. One is they start arguing. Who's right and who's wrong, but I did this and you mean this and you did that, and they get in their head and they start arguing. And then it just becomes this big debate and a one-upmanship, and you're just fighting all the time, or you're just fighting. The other mode people go into is, I can't believe I have to put up with this bullshit. That fucking bitch, that asshole. I can't believe I had to listen to this again. Neither of these is helpful, and neither is relational. So the relational way of dealing with it is to have compassionate curiosity about your partner's subjective experience. Let me repeat that. Compassionate curiosity about your partner's subjective experience. So, for example, if my husband comes to me and says, I'm so pissed off you you didn't clean up the kitchen after you cooked. So pissed off. Instead of being like, well, I was busy, or I can't believe he's yelling at me again, I could be curious about, I'm sorry that you feel, well, that wasn't maybe a good example. Like, you didn't want to have sex with me when I wanted it. Let's use that one. I'm sorry that you feel bad. Tell me more. Is there anything I can do or say that would make you feel better? So, an average response to your partner being upset with you would be, I can understand how you would feel that way. A better response would be a repair response. What can I do to make you feel better? So instead of listening to the person's words or just getting defensive, get curious about how your partner is feeling. Okay, we're going to call it, for the men, being a generous gentleman. It's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. How do you feel? I'm going to call it being a generous gentlewoman also, is that we're more concerned with how the person is feeling rather than closing down or trying to be right. And this is a practice, you guys. This is a practice. Now, if you get triggered by your partner's anger, instead of doing the arguing or the closing off, you can just say, right now I'm feeling really triggered by this. Let me take 10 minutes to cool off and then I'll come back. You can definitely take a time out. And when you do give yourself a timeout, you need to give a time that you will return, because you're not abandoning the conversation or your partner, you're going to return. So it's always about the repair and being good at repair. Being concerned about how your partner feels. And sometimes people get into these stances of like being an angry victim, and they're so hooked on being the angry victim that they don't even want to repair. So this is where people have to, sometimes with therapy you can see where you're taking like a grandiose position. And when you're doing these new modes of behavior, it's going to feel like it's killing you because it's like so against what you've always done. But we're adults now and we can handle it. So sometimes also, if you're with a grandiose man and a powerless woman, once he becomes more relational, she still stays angry. She's so used to that. She's afraid of the intimacy too. She's never had it with him, and now when he gives it to her, she's not willing to let him in. And so also maybe for the grandiose man, sometimes the woman is grandiose. And so the thing is, if you're not used to intimacy, it's going to feel scary. It's scary for everyone. Because when have you ever experienced people truly being intimate and sharing how they feel? Also, there's a thing called soft power. In the patriarchy, you can be powerful or connected. Okay, that's all you learn. However, soft power is sharing how you feel and sharing what you need from an I position rather than you, and a bullying position. So don't be the bully and don't be the doormat. Just be equal with the people that you're interacting with and come from your heart, and always remember about repair. For those couples, Terry Real has some courses online, some audiobooks on his website. These are the 3: Fierce Intimacy, Staying in Love, and 3 Rules of Marriage. So soft power is speaking with love. You put yourself aside and listen. You respond with compassion, and you have to have the capacity to assert yourself and repair skillfully. So one more thing for love addicts. Here's the story for the guy. I feel abandoned, so I feel the grandiose position. I feel abandoned when she doesn't love me, that fucking bitch. I'll punish her. I'm going to get mad. I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to be entitled and selfish and treat her badly. And whenever she makes a request, I'm going to punish her. That's the grandiose guy. The dependent woman is going to say, what can I do to make him love me? And she's afraid to make requests. And I see myself in that a little bit. When I like a guy, or I have in the past, I've been more in the position of what can I do to make him love me? And I've been afraid to ask for things. So ladies, if those of you like me who end up getting with these guys who don't give us what we want, we have to start really weeding out the guys that are unavailable by making requests. This is how we stop getting in relationships with unavailable men, I think, is from the very beginning we make requests. And we want to have someone who honors that request, and we want to feel like we have an equal right in the relationship. It's not all about what can I do to please you, what can I do to make you love me, what do I need to do to be pleasing. Instead of that, we want to start making requests. This is where I would like to go. This is when I would like to go out. This is what I would like. And then just that's going to weed out the men who are unavailable, and that's going to empower us to start using our voice, our soft power, instead of just like being in this people-pleasing mode. That's what I think. Now, for men who are in that position, I don't know. I'm just seeing myself in a lot of this right now. Anyway, time for me to go to my personal training this morning. Thank you so much for watching my video, and leave your comments about any of this. Thank you for watching.